What'd you think of last night?
It was definitely very entertaining. I watched starting from, well, really, honestly, I was watching MSNBC. So I
Yeah.
got some of that show, but they don't hold on the feed from the RNC the entire time. They're giving their insane commentary too. So I had it kind of spliced with Joy Reid calling black men white adjacent, which is a quote.
What? In, which, which black men in particular, or what could possibly the context be of that?
They were talking about how there was a theme of like masculinity with Trump's Republican Party, that masculinity is too glorified. Obviously, they weren't being as kind with the way that they were saying that as I am, which I happen to think that was a good thing. But if you even take that from this, which I don't really think that was the message, but that was the message that they gleaned from the RNC. They said it was celebrating masculinity, and then they were talking about the kind of people that appreciate that. And Joy Reid mentioned that black men, and she mentioned another race. I don't remember which one, but then she called, and which she said was white adjacent. So that was kind of my experience of the RNC, was through the eyes of Joy Reid.
I wish the worst eyes to watch anything through. No, but I've thought about MSNBC a lot because first of all, they weren't even there, so that's kind of
right. They had the feed on a screen behind them.
Yeah, and they almost got away with it too, which is pretty fancy. But I thought about him a lot. I particularly thought about him during the Gold Star families from Afghanistan 2 days ago, and I was thinking, wow, how do you come back from that? How do you play that and then cut back to Rachel Maddow and Joy Reid and talk about that? What do they say? And it turns out they never even took it.
Right.
So that's how you do it. You just ignore it completely.
Nice. Because I was gonna say, like, it's crazy. That's real classy, actually. Wow. That's like almost a scandal. But you should tweet that out, Slater. You get mad numbers on that. But the thing that's fascinating about MSNBC is just what I was gonna say is no matter what it's crazy because they're living in an alternative reality, in this conspiratorial, paranoid, dark reality. I actually do not envy them. And I'm imagining that it's real and that it's not just like acting. And that makes me feel bad for them because they live in a very scary world. And it's funny because my wife was in the room while I was watching Rachel Maddow do a monologue at one point during the night last night. And she doesn't really keep up with politics. She doesn't really I mean, she does, but whatever. Like, she's not like me. She's not like a real junkie. And she doesn't know who Rachel Maddow is, really. And she was standing in the other room, and she could hear the TV. And she said, like, this is so crazy. Like, what is she talking about? Like, even she remarked, she was like, this is like some sort of different world that she's describing that I don't understand. She's like, who is she talking about? And it was like Trump. And she was shocked. Yeah. By how far it's apart from reality.
Yeah, I heard a little bit like Whoopi, who's in the same world there, criticizing Kai Trump, the 17-year-old, for daring to humanize her grandpa.
Yes.
How could you say nice things about this evil monster? And we were talking to Alex a second ago, and Alex says like, Trump could be a lot of things, whatever, but he's like, above all, like a great hang and a fun guy. And a nice guy. It's like the worst thing you could say about him is he's the worst person on the planet ever. This just doesn't match up with reality at all. But I like your end take there. Maybe that's the culmination of these last 9 years is to just pity them.
Yeah, well, because imagine living like that 24/7. It's like it's one thing to be like, wow, that's like really dark commentary, but you have to imagine that commentary comes from a worldview that exists with you from the moment you open your eyes, and it's like weird. It's like they literally live in a parallel world, and the way that they speak is just bizarre, and they're constantly saying things that you listen to it and you're like, how did you get there?
Yeah. We don't even have time because we have a lot of things to do, but Rachel Maddow the other day criticizing J.D. Vance for using Lord of the Rings referenced characters.
Oh, yeah, I watched that too. She said it was Aryan, but the N is at the front. She's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, that's QAnon. That's like QAnon.
Yeah, she literally is like QAnon. It's funny because JD Vance is actually taking some heat from the left because he said that Rachel Maddow is less reliable than Alex Jones, or Alex Jones is more real than Rachel Maddow or whatever, and people are like mad at him for saying that. And I'm like, has anyone watched Rachel Maddow lately?
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to totally lose their minds, and that's fine. They already have. Did you have a favorite moment from either last night or just the whole week, something that you thought personified it all?
I have to say my favorite moment my favorite moment from the whole week was JD talking about his mother's sobriety. I thought that I really, really, really liked JD's speech. I'm really excited about a millennial being VP. Maybe it's just because I'm a millennial, but I just think it's so cool. I think that the issues that he talks about are so current in the next generation's life. And my favorite moment was when he was talking about his mother's sobriety, and the room just explodes. And it's just such a touching moment. And if you watch the split screen version, I don't know if you caught this later, but the room is applauding her, and it's this long applause, the longest applause of his entire speech. And she's sitting next to Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, and she stands up and starts clapping, and you see her mouthing, because obviously she's not mic'd up, but you see her mouthing. She's speaking to Mike Johnson, and she says, "That's my boy." And it is just the most touching thing I've ever seen. I was welling up with emotion. You know, the whole country is so proud of her. The whole country is so proud of him. And obviously the country is already familiar with her and her struggle because of Hillbilly Elegy. And that was like a best-selling book. And it's just this remarkable story. And JD is a remarkable case and a remarkable man. And it feels, because we all read that book, it feels like we're all getting to see the end of the book in real life. And there's something about that that's just so gripping and fantastic. And she was just beautiful. The way that moment played out was just beautiful. It was pure love.
Yes. Very good. My corny visual is if you could go back in time when JD was in front of the Foster court judge after his mom was beating him in the car, and he ran away into a field and found a stranger at the nearest house. And they brought him in front of the judge. If you could go back in time and tap that judge on the shoulder and say, "Hey, that 12-year-old boy right there is going to be vice president of the United States one day." Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And you think of his mom, because we've all had a connection to addiction. You think of his mom at the depths of it. There's no way that she ever could have dreamed that she'd be sitting next to President Trump in the VIP box of the convention while her son is
I know, right?
It's so impossible.
It gives you goosebumps. I have goosebumps right now talking about it. I just think that he is such a formidable choice. He is brilliant. He totally gets it. And the thing that's so special about him is that he is this movement. You know, he's like 7th generation from Appalachia, and he's just like the picture of the American dream. He's the picture that there is social mobility in this country, economic mobility in this country. Where you're born doesn't mean that that's where your life is. He's inspirational. He's so inspirational. And he is a deplorable through and through, and probably one that we can really be proud of.
Yes. My one of my best friends lived the same life as JD Vance. Meth addict mom, addicted dad, lived with his mom. Exact same story. And he said of this pick, he said, Trump did not choose a career politician. He chose a deplorable. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's it. You just said that. That's it. Like, yeah, he chose a deplorable to be his VP. That's not the safe pick. And it's great. I want to ask you, because I'm going to spend way too much time on this. Like, everyone's going to be really annoyed with me. But the JD's point that he's made a lot, and there's been 3 people who have progressed my thinking, evolved my thinking on this. I used to fall for this idea that America's an idea, this argument that America's an idea.
Right.
I used to say that, thinking I was very smart. And it was Tucker, you, and him that told me that no, we're place. We're an actual place. We're a country with mountains.
Wow, Tucker, me and him. I need to hang up the phone right now because I just can't beat that line. I want the whole audience to go away with that as the last thing they hear. Wow, I am so honored and touched and humbled by that. You have no idea, actually.
I'm for real. You've spoken to that. I remember exactly the time when you spoke of that. And I remember when Tucker first spoke of it, and then I encountered just recently that Vance talks about this a lot, actually. But it was actually, if I may, the World War II veteran who took it to the next level, who said, America's not just an idea, and it's not even just a place, it's our home.
Right.
He said, God bless our home.
Yeah.
It's oh, whoa, that's, you hit it, 98-year-old World War II veteran, obviously. As he would be the one to take it. Can you speak to that? Because now I hear some conservatives coming out and be like, no, America is an idea. And yes, of course, there are ideas, blah, blah, but why are we more than that? Or what's the problem with it just being an idea?
Well, you can't, okay, I wouldn't say that that's verboten to say. There are ideas that inspire our culture and our laws. And okay, we share common ideas, as part of our culture. Sure. But I just don't think that's you put a period at the end of that, or I don't think that's the final place that you get when you think about what America is. It's okay, and that's what I want to say after somebody says that. But yeah, that's right, and I'm so glad that is a theme, because I feel calling America an idea. It's funny because it's a nice thing to say, but it's being used, I guess, as a rhetorical tool to justify things being done to this country that are not acceptable.
Yes.
For instance, mass migration, honestly. It's become a slogan to justify mass migration and mass illegal immigration and to excuse it. Because America is just an idea, and if it's just an idea, then anybody can get that idea, I guess, technically, and be American.